Hello and welcome to part 2. So we're going to continue looking at ggobi. We're going to look at its console, and in particular we're going to try and understand what the menu items are. So here we've already seen the file menu, so it's the usual stuff of opening files, saving data, and various options for setting and closing actions, as we can see. The display menu, this is an interface for opening new plotting windows. And so you can see you can have a scatter plot, you could have a scatter plot matrix, parallel coordinates display, time series, and new bar chart. Show display tree, basically that will give you a list of all the displays that you've created. The view menu, this is an interface for specifying the projection, whether you want it 1D, 2D, 3D, or even higher. The interaction menu, this is an interface for specifying mouse interaction, such as, for example, scaling the plot or highlighting points. And then finally we have the tools menu, and this lets you open up other windows, and it allows you to manipulate various characteristics of the data and also to view those characteristics of the data. So we're going to start off with the interaction menu, and we're going to look at the identify menu. On the console there is a frame that's labeled identify. This is the interaction mode of the current plot. This frame contains most of the row labeling controls. There's several options here for writing labels in the plot window. The default is the record label, so you can see here it's already highlighted, but I'll click it again just to make it more visible. So record label is the default. What we'll do is we'll change our scatter plot for the selling price and for displacement. What we can then do, and what we'll do, is click on the plot, and notice what happens when I bring the cursor, the mouse cursor, close to a point. It highlights the values. We could of course label all the values in one go by clicking on label all, but obviously not very useful. Well, for this particular plot it's not very useful because the points are very close together, so we can remove the labels by clicking on remove labels. I'll now select, let's say, the year, and when I bring the mouse onto the points on the plot, we can see what year each point corresponds to. Let's select manufacturer, and we can see who the manufacturer is. If we select, for example, the year as well, so I'm holding down the control key and selecting year, we now have both year and manufacturer selected. Do this for as many variables as you like. If you select too many variables, then it's not going to be very clear. And as you can see here, it's getting a bit too cluttered. We can actually make this a little bit bigger, and that's a little bit more clearer to see the price, the model, the manufacturer, and the year as well. Let's now open up a second display. Let's look at a bar chart. So we need to go to display, and we need to click on new bar chart. And so this is the bar chart, and notice that the console has changed. So this is the bar chart for displacement. This is for year, this is for manufacturer, model, selling price, displacement. I want you to notice that there is a white narrow band just outside the plotting area, and that's because this chart has focus. If I was to now look at the scatter plot, just click on the scatter plot and notice that there is a white band around the plotting area showing that this graph has the focus. I also want you to notice that when the graph becomes the focus, notice how the console changes. So I'm going to click on the scatter plot and notice that the console has changed. I'll click on the bar chart, the console has changed. Right, so let's go to the scatter plot and let's change our scatter plot to the selling price, and we can have, well, we can leave this as displacement or even seat height, fuel capacity, dry weight. We can change it to whatever we're interested in investigating. And we can see here that the relationship between model and selling price is actually quite weak. And we can see here that selling price and displacement, we do have a positive correlation, and also with fuel as well. What we'll do is we'll leave this as fuel. Let's go back to our bar chart. Let's go to the interaction menu and click on brush. And I want you to notice the buttons and the menus inside on the leftmost portion of the console. They're inside a framed label called brush, and this is the view mode of the current plot. So this frame contains most of the brushing controls. And I want you to notice that a square has also opened up. This is known as the paintbrush. By dragging it over the bars or even the points in the scatter plot, notice how the color changes. So I'm going to drag this. I can drag it in between two bars, both are highlighted, or I can do it individually. And I'm not sure if you have noticed that whilst I'm dragging this brush over the bars, the points on the scatter graph are also changing. So I'm just going to move the bar graph to one side, and we should now have a better view of the brush. Now notice the brush it looks like it's disappeared, but actually it's not disappeared. If you click anywhere on the graphing area, the brush will appear. So I'm just going to click here, and there's the brush. And now notice how bar is highlighted, but the points are also highlighted on the scatter plot. We can change the color of the brush by opening up this choose color and glyph panel. We have a range of colors that we can choose. At the moment, yellow is the selected color, but we can change it to orange. Notice that the brush has changed to orange, and we can also change the actual glyphs that are on the scatter diagram. So let's say we want to change them to this big orange circle. So I'll close the chooser and notice what happens. So when the brush goes over a bar on the scatter diagram, the points change to big orange squares. Also notice that here we've got a tick box, persistent. At the moment, we're in what is known as transient style. So what this basically means is that the points go back to their original color when the paintbrush no longer surrounds them. So we've seen some basic uses of ggobi, but where ggobi really shines is how it interacts with all the different plots that you produce. I'm going to change this bar chart to manufacturer, and we can see we've got all the manufacturer names here. And let's create a new scatter plot. Let's change this so that what we have is something interesting to look at. We're going to see how ggobi can be used to make all the graphs interact and show us some insight into what's happening. What we'll do is we'll also create another scatter plot. We'll change this scatter plot into manufacturer and model. Click on the bar chart. So now the bar chart has the focus. And if we go to interaction and click on brush, and we can choose the colors that we want. So here we can see that Husqvarna are represented by these points, and these are the models that Husqvarna produces. We're going to use the persistent checkbox. Once you change the color will remain. Let's have pink for beta. We can have red for Honda. And notice that the colors are changing. So here we got model and manufacturer. So pink, beta are represented here. This is Honda. We can also see on the scatter graphs that we've got the same situation. Let's change blue for Kawasaki, green for KTM, orange for Suzuki, brown for Yamaha, and we can have grey for Huxwerner. So we can see here all the different models, and they're represented on all the graphs. One very interesting tool that ggobi has is this 2D tour. And what we're seeing here is a random walk through the points. So we have 3 dimensions, and we can choose which dimensions we're interested in. So we can actually increase the number of dimensions. So what's happening is there is a walk through all these 4 dimensions, and our dimensions are the selling price, displacement, wheelbase, and seat height. We can control the speed at which the walk is happening through the data points using this slider. So this slows it down and this speeds it up. We can also use our mouse as well to look at different angles of the data points. We can pause it as well. Now there's an interesting tool here, projection pursuits, and with this tool we can do a number of interesting things. So at the moment there is a walk through the data points, and we can apply a metric that's given its current 2-dimensional representation. How clustered are the data points? Where is the central mass? And for that we can select from here the holes. That just represents how spread out is the data, and we can even optimize this. So if we go to central mass and select optimize, ggobi will select the central mass. It'll use the random walk to find the projection that has the most central mass. And in the same way, you can also use this also for holes as well. Sometimes you'll find that it gets stuck in a local minimum, and for that you just need to click on scramble and it starts the random walk again. So in terms of interpreting this, if we look up here, we can see that the selling price, the projection of the selling price, is orthogonal to the screen. For displacement, there is a slight angle and it's going orthogonal to the screen, slightly at an angle. For wheelbase, it's going in this direction, so it'll be in this direction on the screen, and for seat height, it's going in this direction. And this tells us that there is some sort of relationship between wheelbase and seat height. Now we can scramble this, and once again we can see that there is still this relationship between wheelbase and seat height. So this relationship is in reference to holes. If we change this to central mass, we can see that there is still a relationship between wheelbase and seat height, but this would be in reference to where the central mass is located. So you can see that ggobi is a very nice interactive tool. You should experiment with this. So I hope you found this video useful. There'll be a 3rd part to this as well, because there's a lot more that this little tool can do. It's very powerful. If you found this video useful, then don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button. So until next time.